So, whether this economy has you becoming a repairman, or you're trying to do homesteading type stuff like me and need to be a repairman anyways, today we're on an adventure to try and fix my Samsung washing machine. I am on a personal mission to try and find a washboard or manual way, a cheap one that I can learn to do it that way and make my own soap as well. But in accordance with my wife and the family, I am also going to attempt to be a repairman and fix this washing machine. Alright, so what I have here is our Samsung top-loading washing machine. And the problem with it is it's not going into spin cycle. It won't agitate, and so it'll do everything else and it'll get to that point and then just click back. And then it has some funny sounds and things. So I'm not 100% sure on what's going to fix that, but I'll show you what I'm going to try. That is a very dirty bucket, and that is just mud, sorry. But I've been draining it out, and I need to take the hoses off. Of course, you always want to unplug it first. Okay, so I did a little bit more research, and I was able to find I might only need a small piece that's a lot less expensive. I'll show a photo here. I had two in stock, and it was like 16 bucks, so I went ahead and just ordered that. And yes, I'm aware that my wall needs work. Anyhow, so I'm going to go ahead and tear the clutch assembly apart and see if I just need that part or the whole new clutch assembly, as that has actually gone up $20 overnight, and I don't want it to go up more. So anyways, what you're going to do, first thing you want to do is make sure power's unplugged whenever you're working on anything electrical. I had taken this screw out and drained the water out best I can. That is just dirt. Once again, I know it looks really bad. It's just mud. And drained out the water best I can. As far as I can see or understand, there's no additional drain or anything on this washer assembly. If you are curious, this is the model of the Samsung washer that I'm attempting to repair, and so to have someone come out and repair it's going to cost more than the machine itself pretty much, so I'm going to try to do it myself. First we're going to try to do it for a $16 fix, and if that doesn't work, the next step's the $300, so we will see what we can do. I'm going to disconnect my hoses. If yours are not labeled, you want to make sure you label them. Mine here are labeled hot and cold, and it just makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to disconnect these, put them in the bucket. And this is where my tired self hopefully saves you a lot of mess and whatnot, and reminds you to make sure you turn the water off at the valves first. Okay, everything's draining out. Then I'm going to coil them up. Wrapped up with an old sock and some cellophane and zip tied here. I have my things put up there and just loosely zip tied. That is not necessary. That is to keep me from things from hitting me and stuff and me saying words I should not. So that's what that's for. Anyhow, so everything is disconnected now. I'll move that gross looking bucket out of the way. It's just been muddy here, guys. I promise that's mud. And I'm going to clean this up a little bit more, lay the towel down. We'll scoot our machine back in here and lay it down. Now, from all the videos I've watched and research I've done on how I'm going to do this, some of them say you need to actually remove the drum and everything in here first as well, and the top, and a lot of work. And then from reading a lot of people's comments and Reddit things, that's not necessary. I should be able to do it just from the bottom. So I am going to opt to starting for the easiest path and just working on the bottom of it. And hopefully that doesn't turn into the longest, hardest path with me having to then go and take the top apart. So that's a gamble, but that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to lay it on its back now. We'll take a look at the bottom, and I'm going to show you how to get the clutch assembly part off. Oh, and put a couple pieces of tape on the lid. That way it doesn't flop open if you have it unscrewed there as well. I'm just using electrical tape, so it's going to be really easy to pull off. It'll be strong enough to hold it. Alright, so I got it pulled out. Got my towels down. Mr. Supervisor's here to make sure everything's okay. Hopefully when I lay it on its side, it doesn't release a lot of water everywhere. Yeah. I can hear some water in it. Okay, so I can hear some water, so hopefully that doesn't leak out. Okay, and it is leaking water into it. That's not good. So it does still have some water in it. I'm going to figure out how to get that out, and we'll be right back with that. So I took the back panel off. Just 4 screws. And so we took the back panel off, and now I can see the drum from this way. And I can tell you, yeah, this model doesn't have an emergency drain or filter that I can tell. And if it does, let me know in the comments. I don't suggest this washer, by the way, but if you have it, we're gonna figure out how to repair it. And so I think what I'm gonna do is, that looks like that's that main drain hose. I think I'm gonna tilt it forward, put a pan under it, and just try and unclip it there and drain it that way. I don't see another way on this washer to do. And the lighting's really bad in here, sorry everyone. You can see, okay, so you can see the water there. There's not a lot, but there is water. So yeah, we'll disconnect that and drain it that way. A lot of models, I guess, either on the front, usually on the front, maybe the back, have a little door you can push and a filter you can change and a little hose you can pull out to drain it out for an emergency. So yours may have that. Look for that. It'd be a little door on the front, I guess, usually. This model doesn't. Draining the rest of the little bit of water that's in here out. And so I got one of these pans, oil pans, just from AutoZone. And so I'm going to tilt this forward and try and pop that off and drain the water out into the tub. And hopefully not make it a huge mess. Alright, so make sure you are safe. Safety first. These techniques are probably not the best. I'm just going to use something I have handy here to pop under there and get my pan. There we go. That seemed to have worked. A little bit of a mess. And then I'm going to let that drain for just a second, and I'm actually going to set the washer back down and a little bit more and try and guide that in so it lets the water that's sloshed to the front out. Okay, so we're going to reattach it, and I'm going to just put a paper towel in here, wipe some of that out of the end there, that gunk, just because why not. Alright, and then this reattaches really easily on there. You want to make sure it's on all the way and that the little groove notches fit. There we go. And we'll tighten this down. Okay, coming around the front, I got it taped so that the lid won't fall, and we'll turn it on the bottom, and we're going to start opening up the motor and motor casing and then the clutch and try and replace the part. So this is looking at the bottom of your washer, so that way the drum sits like that. You have some wires on the bottom. There's your pump, water from the drum in. So if you have leaks or things, those are places to check. And then of course the water going out for the drain. But what we're concerned about, because it's not spinning and agitating, kind of just makes a funny noise, cranking noise a little bit. is this here is the motor, the clutch assembly, and all that. Now, I may have to replace the whole clutch assembly, which is in there, and I'll show you once I get this apart. If not, then I can just replace that little plastic piece, which is commonly broken in these, I guess. We're going to try and do that. So first thing I need to do is take the bolts off. 1, 2, 3, 4. To remove the brace here. And then, let's see, it might be better without the flashlight, huh? And then once I get this brace off, I'm going to be able to take this bolt off and remove the cover, and we'll show how we do that, and we'll start tearing apart the assembly and getting into it. So I'm going to go ahead and get my ratchet and extension and the bolt, or I'm sorry, and the socket, and we're going to get those off, so we'll be right back. So this is the little part that I'm going to try to replace. Hopefully that's what it is. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my ratchet, my good old trusty 10mm socket that I'm going to be honest with you, I had to buy another because I cannot find mine. Go figure, right? And the little extension piece. You help me out? And so what we're going to do now is we're going to take off this bar here. This is just part of the housing for the motor. And so we'll do that. You're going to want to make sure you have a short ratchet when you're working on the washer, otherwise it's going to... There we go. So now we're going to take that center bolt off here. Out here, but it works. I got my 11/16 socket. This one can be kind of tough. There we go. This might be on really tight, but it's like I'm going to be able to hopefully wiggle it off. There we go. So we got that off. Now this is going to be the part of the motor. Under here is the clutch. And so if you had to replace the whole assembly, that's what you would be doing. Now on these Samsung washers, which by the way, I do not suggest you get, but if you have done so, they have this little plastic ring or piece here, the gear that connects to the clutch in there. In my opinion, it's a really poor design. I think it should be metal. It may be made to break in case so you're not, breaking bigger things, I'm not sure. Anyhow, this does break a lot. Now when I did my research, a lot of the people say you can't buy just this piece. You have to buy the whole clutch assembly. See, Solo? Which I found to be untrue. You can buy the piece, and I'm hoping this one fits. It says it's supposed to be for the model here, and I'll link it below. But this piece here, I think was like 16 bucks versus 300 for the whole assembly. Okay, Solo, I need you to step out. Thank you for helping. Come on, good boy. Stay right there. And so that's what we're going to replace. And so when you're not getting the spinning, the agitation, it just won't do anything. It kind of makes a really funny noise. That's because this piece here was broken. There we go. And this is actually the third time this is being replaced on this washer. We had warranty the other 2 times that they did it. Unfortunately, I wasn't here to watch, which would have been helpful. But anyways, we're figuring that out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the broken piece. And so then in order to remove this little piece here, I'm going to need to go ahead and remove this piece here. And so that's going to be done just with our 10mm socket again. And I'm going to go around and remove all these bolts here. And I'm recording this to show, hopefully this will help someone else. I'm also recording it to remind me of what I did, so if I have to go back, that's very helpful. Now if I was to have someone come out and repair this and replace this piece here and all, I'm looking at spending $600–700. Whereas now I did it for under 20. If you had to buy the whole clutch assembly, again, that's gonna be about $300, so you're still gonna be out quite a bit of expense there. If you do have this washer, I suggest grabbing maybe 2 of these and just keep them handy. Like I said, they do break. This machine is made, well, it says it's made to have a very large load, but I don't think it truly is. Okay, and so I'm going to want to go ahead and detach. I'm trying not to touch anything best I can, and I'm going to just go ahead and pop off this plug on the bottom here. I'm going to put one of these bolts in just to hold it there a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, so right down here you can see it's connected with these 2 plugs, and so I'm going to get they just push in. I don't know how well you're going to see this with my hand in the way, so I'm going to set my phone down and I'm just going to pop these 2 plugs off. All right, so we pop these 2 off, and again, doing any electrical work or any of this, consult an electrician or someone that I'm not an electrician, so do your research. But I got that popped off. Take this screw off and we'll set this aside. Again, I don't want to get the oils from my hands and things all over it, so I'm trying not to touch it as much as possible, just the plastic pieces. There we go. So I got that all detached, you can see there, and we'll set that aside. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to need to, I don't think I have it right here. I'm going to grab my screwdriver, and we are going to need to remove all these little screws on this gear assembly here so we can take off this arm. Whoever engineered this, that's really cool. I don't know who did that, but they made a perfect slot in that piece there. High five to some people. Sometimes things like that are definitely overlooked by the engineers. Should wiggle out. And screw it right over. There we go. Okay. So I guess I didn't need to unscrew that. But anyways, so I got the assembly off. Make sure you don't lose that spring right there. If you have to, you could grease everything up here. I don't happen to have any right now, so I'm not going to do that. If you want, you can. I don't know. Do your own research. So the broken piece is going to slide right out like that, and I'm going to take our new ring here, and that's going to go with that bigger side down. We're just going to put that in, and you can see it fits up with those teeth nicely. That is the correct part. Fix under $20 instead of $300. So high five to us. Good job. Okay, and I'm going to buy a couple extra of these just to have on hand. There we go. So we got our arm, our assembly. Make sure that spring is there. Okay. And we'll just wiggle everything down. Make sure this is matching up right in here. And that should all fit on there. That spring's gonna pull that out. And that is so that this, when it pulls back to switch it into agitation spin mode, it pushes it down and these gears will catch. And that's what breaks and strips. I don't think it's strong enough. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and put all of our screws back in. These are the two I did not need to take out, but that's all right. I'd rather take the screws out to remove the piece if I haven't done it before than just yanking on it or pulling it, because if it happened to have some little side pieces in here or something to keep it in there, come in to supervise again, Solo, I could have broken that and then it could be a more expensive fix. So my method, or I guess whatever, is when in doubt, just take it apart and record it so I know what I'm doing. All right, buddy, what do you think? You got some leaves on your nose. And how do you feel about this fix? He's just wanting attention. All right, you gotta step back here, bud. Thank you. Okay, so we'll make sure these are nice and tight in there. Not too tight, you don't want to break anything. And go ahead and screw this in. But hopefully this is enough to fix the whole problem. If it is, this whole project I'm thinking should take you definitely under half an hour. 15-20 minutes would be my guess. It ended up taking me 4 days. That's because I had to order the part, and then I don't know what I'm doing either. So that was including the research and whatnot. So if this is your problem, you order this part, have it on hand maybe, and you watch my video here, including your research and all, in under 10 minutes, or in under half an hour. Do you approve? Sure, they're nice and tight in there. There we go. So now we're going to start reassembling. So I'm going to want to take my ring back, my motor. Again, not touching the metal best I can. And I want this, you can see there, the ports for the wires go right down here. So I want to line that up. Just like that. I'm going to take one bolt, put in first just to hold it in place. There we go. Just so there's no imbalance. I don't know how much it matters, but I'm gonna put these bolts back on in a star pattern, kind of here, 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 and tighten it down that way. Tighten these down, but make sure you don't over tighten them, because you'll break that plastic housing they're in. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to put our housing back on. You can see it's got little teeth that match up with these teeth in here. That's going to hold all this together and in place. And then this has the, the magnets around the edge. If you're unfamiliar with how a motor works, it's really cool, actually. There we go. And we want to make sure this seats really well. So you'll want to turn it until it fits in there right and those gears all line up.
And this you may have to kind of pound down just till it gets to the base of that bolt. So you'll see that base, you'll know when it's on there. And then we're gonna reassemble. Got our washer, our lock nut, or our piece there, and our nut. And I use the 11/16 socket. That's what I had on hand to fit that on. So we'll just go ahead and fit that. Do not over tighten this. It does be kind of tight and you might have to hold it. But there we go. And so that, there we go. All right, I'm gonna put our bar back on. Okay, and you don't want them too tight. Let's just hold that. The part you can, the step you can probably guess I missed was reconnecting these wires. So that's really easy, and I can do that here once I have it all back together. There we go. And this one here. Have to get down on my belly. I can't see. All right, you guys can see how that's connected probably. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right, there we go. Those popped in real easy once I set my camera down. So just two wires there. Everything's nice and tight. And so we're gonna flip it back up on its end now. That's the piece. What was that? Know what that sound was, but okay. Something fell down, it sounded like in there, but I don't know what that was. So, oh, that's my light. Something fell and I thought it was a part of the washer. I was afraid that was my light. Okay, well, that makes me feel better, I guess. So make sure that we've reconnected our thing from when we drained it. I just want to double check that. And then we need to put the back pieces on. So we are going to go ahead and let me get this out of the way. And we need to put our back panel back on. And that just slides up in these tabs here, just like that, and down in the bottom tabs. There we go. There we go. All right, awesome. Now I just need to get it put back into where we have it sitting. So this is right where my wife likes it to sit, so that's where it's going to sit. So I'm going to get this into place, and I need to shim up the foot. And I'm going to want to start reconnecting my lines, and you want to make sure you have your cold with your cold, your hot with your hot. Mine are labeled here if yours aren't. It's a good idea to label them. Make sure I got my hose clamps. This is just because of, so this is an old house, and the lines in this house are smaller. They're not meant to take high capacity, whereas a lot of your appliances nowadays are going to run high capacity. That's actually, I found out why this washer doesn't have a filter, and those other things that older washers have is because instead it just has larger holes, larger pump and capacity, and it's meant to just pump that right out the lines. Well, our lines are very old and kind of falling apart, so I do need this coupling that we put on here. So let me attach that. Okay, so now we have it all hooked up, hopefully all repaired. I can take my tape off the front, and I give it a little spin in here just to see. And it's spinning, so hopefully it's a good sign. Let's go ahead and turn it on. Another good sign. I'm just going to keep it in spin cycle here because that's what it wasn't doing. It would just make a noise, kind of funny noise, wouldn't do anything, and then it would switch right back up. So let's try that. Okay. Oh, I'm not going to be able to see. That's all right. So I can see it's agitating. So that quiet hum, that little shaking of this machine warms my heart. All right, and so I'm Matt, again, Grafted Branch Homestead. That was the successful repair of my Samsung washer, repairing the little gear here, the part of the clutch assembly. So if your Samsung washer is not agitating and spinning, a lot of times this is the problem, and this was an under $20 fix. I'll link this part below. Thanks for sticking with me through me figuring all this out. Once again, I'm not a repairman, I'm not an electrician, do your own research, but hopefully this helps someone out. So this will help our family out. Till next time, stay strong, do the things, get out there and make it happen.
Remember to hit the thumbs up and subscribe.
Gooey.
The party pooper.